For anyone who thinks spaghetti and meatballs are just an Italian-American invention, welcome to the 51st state of the Union, Abruzzo, because right here is where one of the very few authentically Italian dishes that actually combines meatballs and pasta in the same plate was born. Spaghetti con le pallottine, tiny, tender morsels of meat simmered in a rich, hearty, aromatic sauce. A dream come true for meat lovers and for anyone who loves the taste of real Italy. For the meat sauce, you'll need an onion, a carrot, a stalk of celery, and a few whole cloves of garlic. Heat some extra virgin olive oil on a heavy pot. A cast iron casserole would be just ideal. Let the garlic turn golden, then remove it. It's just there to perfume the oil. Now it's time for the meat, pork ribs and beef chuck. Sear them over high heat until beautifully browned. This kind of slow-cooked meat sauce pairs perfectly with our tiny meatballs, but if you prefer something lighter and quicker, don't worry, we wanna rest you for it. The key is to let the meat brown deeply to build that base of flavor. Once it's well caramelized, add the vegetables in large chunks and let them color too. Deglaze the pan with half a glass of white wine, scraping up all those delicious brown bits from the bottom. Then pour the tomato puree, tomato passata, and a bit of water. 3 pinches of salt, 3 of pepper, and let everything simmer gently for at least 2 hours. 3 if you can. By the end, the meat will be falling apart and the sauce will be thick and rich, almost something you can eat with a spoon. Meanwhile, we'll get started on the spaghetti alla chitarra and the tiny Abruzzese meatballs. Today, Nicole is calling in some help from Nonna and Lulu, a true master of homemade pasta. The classic pasta for this dish is spaghetti alla chitarra, a fresh egg pasta cut with a traditional tool that actually inspired its name. You can find our tutorial on how to make it on our channel. Here, Nonna Lulu is going old school. She rolls out the dough by hand, then presses it over the chitarra, strung with steel wires, like a guitar. The result is a square-shaped pasta, about 2 to 3 millimeters thick, with a beautifully rough surface that clings to the sauce like no other. The chitarra spaghetti is ready. Now let's head back to Nicole, who's preparing the pallottine. For these tiny meatballs, we'll make crumbs of stale bread soaked in milk, ground beef, grated Parmigiano Reggiano, one egg, salt, freshly ground black pepper, and a generous grating of nutmeg. The best tool for the job? Your hands. So it's time to dig in and mix. Once the mixture is smooth and uniform, wrap it tightly in a plastic wrap to prevent oxidation and let it rest in the fridge for about half an hour, or even overnight if you want the flavors to fully develop. Now it's time to shape our meatballs. These are tiny, about the size of an olive. Imagine 6 meatballs on a single spoon, just like proper tortellini bolognese. Once shaped, roll them lightly in flour. It keeps them from sticking and gives them the perfect golden crust when cooked. Now, in Italy, meatballs are usually served on their own, as an appetizer or a second course, and almost never over pasta. So how did spaghetti and meatballs become a symbol of Italian cuisine in places like United States? The best theory is that Italian immigrants arriving in a land where meat was more affordable and diners expected their meat and carbs in the same dish, combined their beloved pasta and polpette. Thus, spaghetti and meatballs became a proud tradition in Italian-American homes and restaurants. The meatballs are ready, the sauce is done, and so is the Chitarra pasta. All that's left is to cook the pasta, fry the meatballs, and bring everything together. First, remove the vegetables and large pieces of meat from the sauce. Those will be our second course. Look at that tenderness. The meat practically falls apart. You could cut it with a spoon. Meanwhile, we boil the spaghetti alla chitarra, or as a great alternative, square bronze-cut spaghetti, which has the same rough texture, perfect for holding sauce. While the pasta cooks, cover the bottom of a wide pan with a bit of olive oil and toss all the flour meatballs. Let them brown well, forming a golden crust. Then add half of the meat sauce and a couple of ladles of starchy pasta water. And there it is. Look how creamy they are. The moment where everything comes together and the sauce turns beautifully creamy. Do you see how creamy they are? And that's the secret of this beautiful dish. And now the best part. Time to plate. Here's a dish that brings together two worlds, the rustic soul of Abruzzo and the American dream of abundance. The pallottine d'Abruzzo prove that the roots of Italian cooking are strong, alive, and endlessly adaptable. Serve with a generous sprinkle of Parmigiano and a good glass of red wine. And don't forget to subscribe to Piatto if you haven't already. Hit that like and hype. And if you love discovering real Italian regional dishes, check out Flavia Diamante's cookbook, Pasta Affair, so you can travel the country one forkful at a time.